Suspect pulled a weapon that the male victim was not able to identify at first, but the male suspect started hitting him in the head with it. He realized it was a gun. Soon thereafter, a gunshot went off. Don't know if it was accidental or if it was on purpose, but a gunshot did go off. Thankfully, nobody was hit by that gunfire. The suspect fled the location, but not before taking a young child that I believe he is a parent. He is the father. The female victim is the mother. But he took that child by force from the home and fled the location in a vehicle. Our deputies lost sight of him soon thereafter, but some of our SWAT units picked him up and began a pursuit. Our chief called off the pursuit because there was a child in the car, so she canceled that pursuit. We already knew who he was by that point, or we believed we knew who he was. He was picked up again here on foot. At some point, he was involved in a couple of minor car accidents, one of which was with a patrol car. One of our deputies did catch up with him on foot here. He dumped a backpack that did have 2 weapons in it, but we believe he is still armed. One of our deputies did catch up with him on foot shortly here at the complex, and he was able to tase him, but the taser had very little effect, and the suspect kept running on foot. We believe that he is injured. He does have an injured leg that may have been sustained when he he jumped over a fence over here, is what I'm told, and into a culvert. But he is still at large, and so what we're looking for him, he's a 40-year-old male, thin build, 6 foot tall, African-American. When last seen, he was wearing gray shorts and a white t-shirt, but by this time he may have changed, and so that may not be the most accurate physical description at this point. We do know who he is, and so look, we're asking that if anybody knows who he is or knows where he is, he certainly knows that we're looking for him at this point. We would ask that he call and turn himself in. He can call 210-335-6000. We do want to talk to him. We want to hear his side of the story. But we just as soon he turned himself in before we come find him.
What is he facing? What charges is he facing
Well,
at this point?
at this point, he's facing a couple of felony charges: aggravated assault, endangering a child, evading arrest, and probably a couple. It just might be much easier on him if he just turned himself in.
So did he fire a weapon?
He did. A gunshot did go off in the house when there was a physical fight, but at this point we don't know that was on purpose or if it was accidental. Regardless, a gunshot did go off, and thankfully nobody was hit by that gunfire.
But he didn't fire at any else? Okay.
No, as far as we know, he didn't fire at anybody here, but we do believe he's still armed.
So the scene at climbing line is connected to this?
It is. It's all connected. That was where the initial incident started. He fled that location and then ended up here.
And again, over there, he was starting an altercation with another male?
It was with a female that I guess he had a relationship with her at one time, and they share a child. And then a male victim tried to intervene once he saw it becoming physical. He intervened on behalf of the young lady, and then this suspect pulled a weapon at that point.
And was anybody injured over there?
Yes, there were minor injuries, and thankfully no gunshot victims at this time.
Okay, so just from
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was anybody transported or just
No, I don't believe anybody was transported at this point. But again, we've got covert units out here, we've got marked units out here, and we're not going to stop looking for him until we find him. So his best bet is just turn himself in.
What else can you tell us that was found on the vehicle? You said the bag had...
Well, we did find a couple of weapons in a backpack, and we found some narcotics in the backpack as well. So he's probably going to be facing charges for that also. But it's probably just be much easier if he turned himself in at this point. Esta tarde nosotros estamos buscando un sospechoso de 40 años de edad, es un hombre afroamericano. Ya sabemos quién es, pero no podemos decir el nombre porque todavía no tenemos órdenes por su arresto. Pero se aparenta que empezó un argumento con una mujer, que el sospechoso tiene niño con esta mujer. Ellos empezaron a alegar, él la empezó a asaltar a la mujer. Un hombre que estaba en la casa también quiso meterse en medio de ellos para defender a la mujer. Los dos hombres empezaron a forcejear, empezaron a pelear físicamente. El sospechoso sacó una pistola y empezó a asaltar la otra víctima. Un balazo sí sucedió. No se sabe ahorita si lo hizo a propósito o si fue accidente, pero sino que el balazo afortunadamente nadie sufrió heridas a causa de ese balazo. El sospechoso huyó en su carro. Uno de nuestros oficiales de patrulla empezó a perseguirlo pero uno de nuestros jefes canceló la operación esa pendiente de un niño que el sospechoso se había llevado con él. El sospechoso llegó a estos apartamentos donde uno de nuestros oficiales logró pescarlo a pie. Él trató de tumbarlo con una pistola electrónica, pero el sospechoso se escapó. Pero sí pensamos que está herido él. Pensamos que se falchó o posiblemente se quebró una pierna cuando brincó una cerca. Y pues ahora todavía está a pie. Todavía pensamos que está armado con una pistola. Aunque nosotros los que encontramos 2 pistolas, es posible que él tiene otra. Nosotros en estos momentos les estamos pidiendo al público que si lo ven o si alguien sabe dónde está él, se nos pueden decir. Nos pueden llamar a cualquier hora al 210-335-6000. He's in good condition.
He jumped out, right? And started running.
Yeah, he jumped out and he abandoned the child. So thankfully, deputies that were close behind were able to secure the child. We were giving him candy, snacks, keeping him entertained. He was in good spirits, and the child was released to a female relative here shortly, or a little while ago. But the child's doing really well.
I noticed they gave him a troll doll. What did you give him?
I gave him a baseball card with a picture of my horse on it. Sergeant Kenny. Yes.
Did the chase reach speeds high out?
I believe it was a high-speed chase, but again, our chief, I believe she made a good judgment call in the interest of the child, and that's just not, because this is definitely a desperate person. Already, we knew he was armed. We knew he had the intent to use the weapon, and so I think it was a good judgment call to cancel that, terminate that chase, and let it continue on foot. And we'll get this guy.
And the deputy's condition on who hit the vehicle?
I think it was minor, so thankfully no deputies were really injured to speak of in this incident. As I mentioned, we're out here looking, and we're not going to stop until we get him in custody.
This is the second incident, just the one earlier, that y'all called off chase again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is that the norm now? I mean,
Well,
is it because the child was involved?
certainly we've seen a rash in domestic violence related incidents becoming more violent, and of course, in these 2 cases, a child was involved in during the course of a pursuit. And while we definitely want to catch the bad guy, we don't want to do it at the risk of an innocent child. And so, in both of these cases, I praise the managers that terminated those pursuits. We'll catch the bad guy some other time, but we're not going to do it at the risk of a child for sure.
How did he end up here? Did he just live here?
I honestly think he was just randomly trying to get somewhere. We just don't know where, and he dumped the car and the child as quickly as he could. It just goes to show you what kind of person this is that we're dealing with. He didn't know if somebody was going to come along and hit the car with the child in it, or something was going to happen. If the child was going to run into traffic, at this point, I don't think he cared. I think he just cared about getting away and saving his own skin.
How many other vehicles did he hit?
I believe there's at least 2 other vehicles and the patrol car that were hit.
But no shots were fired from.
No, I don't believe he used any force toward officers, and the only force employed on him by officers was a taser that didn't have it had very little effect.
And was DPS involved? Just you guys?
DPS was out here assisting us, and then 107, the chopper their chopper was out here helping us out. Yes. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks. I want a baseball card.